You might be wondering, what does it truly mean to age well? How can we find purpose and happiness in these later years, when many of us feel as though the best days are behind us? Is it possible to stay active, engaged, and fulfilled? What can we do to not just survive, but truly live as we grow older? After spending a year in a nursing home at 82, I discovered unexpected truths about aging. I thought I knew what to expect: loneliness, decline, the loss of independence, and the slow pace of life. But instead, I uncovered lessons that completely changed how I view aging and how I approach each day. The reality is, aging doesn't have to be a lonely or depressing slide into obscurity. It's a stage of life where we still have the power to shape our experiences, maintain independence, and find joy in places we didn't expect. In this video, I'll share 7 life-changing lessons I learned while living in a nursing home. Lessons that could transform the way you approach aging and help you live with more grace, independence, and fulfillment. But here's the twist. These lessons aren't just for the elderly. They're for anyone who wants to learn how to live better, stay connected, and face life's challenges with a positive outlook. And the best part? You don't have to wait for tomorrow to begin making changes. You can start today. Before you scroll away or get distracted, ask yourself, what if something here could change the way you experience your own aging process? What if these lessons could help you, or someone you love, navigate the future with more confidence, joy, and peace of mind? Stay with me to the end, because the final lesson might surprise you, and it could impact the rest of your life in ways you never imagined. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. If you're ready to embrace a new perspective on aging, be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Your support allows us to continue sharing valuable insights and inspiration with you. And don't forget to leave a comment below. What have you learned about aging that has changed your life? I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you on this important journey. Let's dive in and explore how we can all age with grace, strength, and purpose. Lesson 1. Loneliness is a choice, not a fate. At first, I thought loneliness was an unavoidable part of getting older, something I simply had to accept. Everyone around me seemed to be leading their own lives. And with my spouse gone and children busy with their own families, I thought I'd have to face the empty days on my own. I would sit in my room looking out the window, reminiscing about the days when my home was filled with laughter. Those days seemed so far away, and the idea of making new connections felt overwhelming. But gradually something shifted. I realized that loneliness wasn't an inescapable fate, but a choice I had unknowingly made by isolating myself. Once I understood this, a transformation occurred in my mind. I recognized I had control over my situation, and I could choose to connect with others or remain isolated. It was up to me. I began observing the people around me in the nursing home and noticed something interesting. Some kept to themselves, waiting for family visits or someone to start a conversation. They spent their days gazing out of windows or sitting quietly in their rooms. But there were others like Ruth who seemed to thrive in the same environment. Ruth had no family nearby, yet she was one of the happiest, most engaging people I'd ever met. Curious about her attitude, I asked her how she managed to stay so positive. Her answer surprised me. She didn't wait for others to bring her happiness. Instead, she created her own opportunities for connection. I knock on doors, she told me with a twinkle in her eye. I join tables, ask people how their day is going. I never wait for happiness to come to me. I go out and find it. Ruth's simple approach carried a profound truth. Happiness, I realized, isn't something that just arrives. It's something we actively seek. Inspired by Ruth, I started making small changes in my routine. I began greeting people in the hallways, striking up conversations when I saw someone alone. I joined in activities, even if I wasn't familiar with them. Slowly, I started building connections, and my world became brighter. I found that when I made the effort, people responded. The more I engaged, the more I felt part of a community. No longer did I wait for someone to come to me. I went out and found connection on my own terms. One of the most rewarding parts of this journey was discovering that everyone in the nursing home had a story, stories waiting to be shared. By reaching out, I was able to hear these stories and share my own. I felt like I was part of something bigger than myself. It wasn't just about avoiding loneliness. It was about building a life, even in the later stages of it. Loneliness, I've learned, is a choice, not a destiny. It's how we approach the world around us. When we choose to engage, when we reach out and put ourselves in situations that allow us to connect, we open doors to new experiences, friendships, and joys. So if you're feeling isolated, whether due to age, distance, or life's many transitions, I encourage you to take that first step. Knock on a door, start a conversation, or simply say hello to someone new. You may not know where it will lead, but I promise you this: it will lead somewhere worth going. You have the power to shape your own journey. Don't wait for others to come to you. Take that step yourself. Lesson 2. Independence fades the moment you let it. Independence was something I never thought much about for most of my life. I didn't truly realize how precious it was until I found myself in a nursing home, surrounded by people who had once been as self-sufficient as I was. One day I was watching William, a man I had known for years. He was always someone who prided himself on his physical and mental strength, but over time I began to notice subtle changes. At first it was small things. He started asking for help with tasks like reaching something on a shelf or getting his own coffee. Then it became more frequent, and soon William was asking for help with nearly everything. It wasn't just his body that seemed to weaken, it was his spirit. Watching him, I realized that once you give up your independence, it's not easily regained. The more I thought about it, the more I understood that independence isn't something we simply have. It's something we must actively maintain. It's easy to let convenience take over as we age. The temptation to ask for help rather than doing things ourselves becomes stronger every day. When someone offers help with something as simple as getting a cup of coffee or taking the elevator instead of the stairs, it's easy to accept. After all, it's just a small thing, right? But what I've learned is that these small moments of convenience add up, and before long, you've lost something essential. I had a wake-up call when I realized I too was beginning to fall into the same pattern. I noticed that I was becoming more dependent, more willing to accept help when I didn't really need it. So I decided to make a rule for myself. If I can do it, I will. Whether it's getting dressed on my own in the morning, taking a walk around the yard, or climbing a set of stairs, I make the effort. It's not about proving anything to others. It's about holding on to my independence for as long as I can. In the nursing home, I see how quickly independence can slip away. It doesn't happen all at once, but rather through small, almost invisible decisions. The moment we start taking the easy way out, we give away a little more of ourselves. Once independence is gone, it's incredibly difficult to regain. There's something beautiful about taking responsibility for your own actions, doing the small things for yourself that others might offer to do for you. It's the feeling of standing tall, knowing that you're still in control of your life, even as the years go by. I encourage you to remember that independence is not just a gift. It's something that requires effort. Every little step you take on your own is one step further from losing it. And trust me, when you realize how important it is, you'll be determined to hold on to it for as long as you can. If you're finding yourself slipping into patterns of relying on others more than you'd like, I encourage you to change that today. Start small. Take a walk on your own, carry your own groceries, or make your own decisions, no matter how minor they may seem. These small actions will preserve your independence. And remember, once it's gone, it's a hard thing to get back. So take control today and hold on to your strength for as long as you can. You'll be grateful you did. If you're still here and loving these ideas, drop a number 2 Untiki in the comments to let me know. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're always updated. Your support allows us to continue sharing valuable insights and inspiration with you. Let's keep moving forward together. Lesson 3. Without routine, health declines. When I first arrived at the nursing home, I thought the differences between the residents were mostly due to their health. Some appeared more vibrant, while others seemed to fade as the days went on. I assumed it was a matter of luck or genetics. Perhaps some people were just dealt better health cards than others. But after spending a year observing, I began to notice a clearer pattern. The real difference, it seemed, had little to do with fate and everything to do with routine. I met Henry, a retired teacher in his late 80s, who seemed to defy the usual signs of aging. Every day without fail, he followed the same schedule. He woke up at the same time each morning, dressed neatly, and took a brisk walk around the grounds before breakfast. He didn't just walk, he engaged with others, sharing stories from his teaching days and participating in social activities with an energy that surprised many of us. It wasn't luck that kept Henry so sharp. It was his routine. His days had structure, and that structure gave him both purpose and focus. In contrast, I noticed other residents who didn't follow any routine. They woke up whenever they felt like it, sometimes skipped meals, and rarely left their rooms unless it was absolutely necessary. Over time, their health seemed to decline. It wasn't a rapid fall, but a gradual fading, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Without the framework of a daily schedule, they seemed to lose their sense of purpose. It was as if the lack of routine caused their bodies and minds to slow down, one step at a time. Through Henry's example, I learned something crucial. Both our bodies and minds need routine to thrive. No matter how old we are, a life without structure can lead to a quiet decline. When we don't have things to look forward to or tasks to complete, it's easy to fall into a passive state. I came to realize that when we let go of routine, we lose more than just time. We lose the motivation to care for ourselves, engage with others, and keep our minds sharp. Even the simplest routines, waking up at the same time, taking a walk, or having meals at regular intervals, make a huge difference. Since then, I've made it a point to stick to a daily structure. I wake up early, take my morning walk, and make sure I'm involved in activities throughout the day. It's not about staying busy for the sake of it. It's about giving my mind and body the attention they need to stay healthy. Even on days when I don't feel like doing much, I remind myself that a day without purpose is a day wasted. This routine has kept me sharp and engaged, and I know it's the key to aging well. If you find yourself losing motivation or feeling sluggish, it may be time to build a routine. Start small. Decide when you'll wake up, set aside time for meals, and schedule moments for activity, whether that's walking, reading, or socializing. It doesn't have to be complex. The important part is consistency. A routine provides structure, and that structure helps keep you healthy, both physically and mentally. Aging doesn't have to mean slowing down. With a simple routine, you can keep moving forward one day at a time. Lesson 4. Attitude is everything. One of the most surprising lessons I learned during my time at the nursing home was that attitude plays a far more significant role in aging than physical health. Before I arrived, I assumed that the happiest residents were those who stayed in good physical shape or those who had frequent family visits to keep them company. But as time passed, I saw that this wasn't the whole picture. Some of the most joyful people I met had significant health challenges. Take Linda, for example. She had severe arthritis that made even the simplest movements painful. Yet every day, without fail, Linda greeted everyone she met with a smile and kind words. She never allowed her circumstances to define her happiness. Despite the pain she lived with, she radiated a positive energy that was contagious. Linda taught me an important lesson. Happiness isn't determined by what happens to you, it's shaped by how you choose to see the world. There were other residents too who had fewer challenges than Linda but seemed miserable. They were consumed by their losses of mobility, independence, and loved ones. Their bitterness often came from focusing solely on what they no longer had, rather than appreciating what they still possessed. Aging inevitably brings losses, there's no denying that. We lose our strength, our health, and sometimes even the people we love. But what I learned from people like Linda is that it's not the losses that define us, it's how we handle them. What struck me most was how the people who focused on what remained, rather than what was lost, had a quality of life that far exceeded those who let their circumstances define them. They found joy in the small things, whether it was the sound of birds outside their window, the chance to chat with a friend, or simply getting through another day with a positive outlook. These small joys became their foundation. As I've grown older, I've come to realize that aging brings more than just physical changes. It's an emotional journey too. We all face challenges as we age, but how we approach those challenges, how we frame them in our minds, can make all the difference. We can choose to focus on the things we miss or the things we no longer have, or we can choose to focus on what's still available to us. It's easy to fall into a negative mindset when facing the inevitable losses that come with age, but those who choose to see the good in their lives are the ones who seem to thrive. It's a choice we all have, no matter our age or physical condition. So I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on what you still have, whether it's your health, your relationships, or simply the gift of another day. Focus on the positive, and you'll find that your attitude can shape your world in ways you never imagined. If you're struggling with aging or any life challenge, remember that attitude is everything. It's not about denying the hard parts of life, but rather choosing to focus on the things that still bring you joy, no matter how small they may seem. Take it from Linda. Happiness isn't a matter of circumstance, it's a matter of choice. Choose to see the good, and you'll find that it makes all the difference in how you live your life. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 inches below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Lesson 5. Friendships fill the gaps left by family. When I first moved into the nursing home, I thought family visits would be the highlight of my days. In the beginning, they were. My children came to see me as often as they could, and I treasured those moments. But over time, the visits became less frequent. Life for them went on. Work, children, and their own responsibilities kept them busy. I found myself sitting by the phone, waiting, hoping, and feeling disappointed when it didn't ring. It was hard not to feel abandoned at times. As I spent more time in the nursing home, I began to observe the other residents. I noticed something interesting. Those who spent all their energy waiting for family visits seemed to be the loneliest. They would sit by the window or on their porches, watching for the familiar faces of loved ones. But those faces didn't always show up. On the other hand, the residents who made an effort to build friendships with others in the nursing home seemed to have a much richer social life. They were always in good spirits, involved in activities, and sharing moments with others. One person who truly stood out to me was Jim. His son visited him only once in a while, but Jim never seemed lonely. He had a small group of friends, and every day he would have coffee with them, play cards, and share meals. They didn't just pass the time together, they genuinely cared about one another. When I asked Jim how he stayed so positive, he told me that while family was important, the friendships he had made at the nursing home were just as valuable. They were there for him every day in ways his family couldn't be, and he had learned to appreciate that connection. That was a powerful realization for me. While family is certainly important, it's the friendships we build in the present moment that truly sustain us. The people we meet in our daily lives, the ones who show up for us and make the effort to connect, are the ones who bring light into our lives. Love isn't just about who is related to us. It's about who cares enough to be there, to offer a smile, a kind word, or simply their company. Over time, I've come to understand that family can't always be there, and that's okay. Life moves forward, and everyone has their own responsibilities. But the friendships we make, those are the ones that fill the gaps left by family. The people who take the time to sit down with us, who share our joys and struggles, are the ones who make life truly fulfilling. So if you find yourself feeling alone, whether because of distance, busy schedules, or changes in your family dynamic, I encourage you to reach out and build those connections. Start with the people around you. Even in the smallest ways, strike up a conversation, join a group activity, or share a meal. You never know how these relationships can enrich your life, and in turn, how you can bring light into the lives of others. Friendships are a powerful force. They fill the gaps left by family and create a community of support, love, and joy. And that's something we all need. Lesson 6. The past is always with us, but the present still matters. As we get older, it's natural to reflect on the past. The memories of our youth, our careers, and our loved ones often become clearer. I've spent countless hours reminiscing about the places I've been, the people I've known, and the experiences I've had. But I've learned something along the way. It's easy to get lost in nostalgia and forget to live in the present. I met Thomas, a man who was 89 and who spent almost every conversation talking about the past. He could recount every detail of his childhood, his career, and the people he had loved. It was clear that the past meant a lot to him, but it also seemed to hold him back. Whenever I tried to talk about something happening in the present, whether it was an event at the nursing home or something going on in the world, his eyes would glaze over and he would quickly steer the conversation back to days gone by. It was as if the past was his only source of comfort and he wasn't open to anything beyond that. Then there was Emily. She too loved to reminisce about her youth, but what struck me most was how she balanced her nostalgia with a desire to embrace the present. Emily kept trying new things, joining in activities, and staying curious about the world around her. Even though she was in her mid-80s, she made an effort to engage with others and experience the joys of today. She would often say, "The past is beautiful, but the present is where we live now." She wasn't letting go of her memories. She was simply making room for new experiences. Emily's attitude taught me something important. Nostalgia is a gift. It reminds us of where we've been and the lives we've touched, but it should never prevent us from living in the here and now. It's easy to become so caught up in what we've lost, what we've already done, or who we were, that we forget to notice the beauty of the present moment. But the truth is, no matter how many years we have behind us, what truly matters is the life we still have in front of us. The past will always be with us. It's a part of us, shaping who we are. But it's the present that shapes how we experience the world today. If we focus too much on what's already happened, we miss out on the opportunities for growth, connection, and joy that are available to us right now. So I encourage you to remember that while the past will always stay with you, the present is where you can truly live. Reflecting on memories is important, but it's equally important to stay curious, stay engaged, and make the most of each day. The past is a beautiful story, but the present is the chapter that matters most. And in this chapter, you have the power to shape the way you live and experience the world. Lesson 7. Small pleasures become the big moments. As we age, the world around us often becomes smaller. The grand achievements and adventures of our youth fade into quieter, simpler moments. At first, it can be easy to mourn the loss of those big milestones, graduations, career successes, travels, and celebrations. But I've learned that the simple pleasures, the small moments we often overlook, bring the most joy. In the nursing home, I've seen how powerful these small joys can be. Residents find happiness in the most unexpected things, like the warmth of a cup of coffee in the morning, the sound of birds singing outside the window, or a shared laugh with a neighbor across the hall. It's a reminder that happiness doesn't need to come from grand gestures or life-changing events. Often it's the little things that carry the most meaning. One person who truly exemplifies this is Michael, a man I met who's 82 years old. Every day, without fail, Michael lights up when he offers someone a butterscotch candy from his personal stash. It may seem like a small gesture, but to Michael, it's a ritual that brings him comfort and connection. Each candy he shares is a moment of kindness, and it creates bonds with those around him. He doesn't need anything extravagant to feel fulfilled, just a simple candy and the smile it brings. These small exchanges give his day meaning and warmth. I've come to realize how important it is to cherish these small moments. For me, it's the first sip of tea in the morning, the feel of sunlight on my face, or the kind words exchanged with a friend or even a stranger. These moments may seem insignificant on their own, but when you start paying attention to them, you realize that life is full of beauty, no matter where you are or how old you become. The small pleasures fill the gaps left by the bigger, more noticeable events that might no longer come as often. What I've learned over time is that when we focus on these small joys, we see life in a different light. It's no longer about waiting for something grand to happen. It's about embracing the beauty in the here and now. The warmth of a cup of coffee, the laughter shared with a friend, and the quiet moments of peace are all a part of the richness of life. And as I get older, I find that those small moments, when savored, often become the big moments of my day. So I encourage you to slow down and appreciate the simple pleasures in your life. Take a moment to savor that cup of tea, enjoy a quiet afternoon, or smile at someone who needs it. In doing so, you'll find that happiness isn't just about the big milestones. It's about the little moments that make life beautiful, no matter how old we get. As we journey through life, we often think of aging as a time of decline, but as we've seen, it doesn't have to be that way. The lessons shared here remind us that aging is a stage of life where we can continue to grow, connect, and find joy. By choosing to engage with others, maintain our independence, embrace routine, and appreciate the small moments, we can not only survive, but truly thrive as we grow older. The key is to approach each day with a positive attitude and an open heart, knowing that the best years are still ahead of us if we make the effort to live fully. So what can you do today to start embracing these lessons in your own life? Whether it's making that first connection, sticking to a routine, or simply enjoying the little pleasures, every small step counts. Remember, it's all about choice. Your choices shape your journey. If you enjoyed this video and found the lessons meaningful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated on more insights about aging, living well, and personal growth. Also, leave a comment below. What's the most important lesson you've learned about aging? Or how do you plan to live with more grace and purpose? I'd love to hear your thoughts and continue this conversation with you. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep living with intention. See you soon.